Hey guys, hope you had a good weekend. We're going to go over the weekly watch list here. This is going to be my first watch list I'm doing. Trying to maybe help you guys out, show you a little bit on how I evaluate and assess what's going to be going on for the current week outside of stock hours on my own. So, right first off, what we look at here, or what I look at personally, is going to be the news for the week. Going through this, Monday we have 8:30 a.m., 9 a.m. Very few things that are really influential on what we do. Tuesday, we got 6 a.m., 9 a.m., CDI, composite, very disaffected as well at 9 a.m. Something to just kind of be aware of, but nothing too influential. Going into Wednesday, oil inventories, another thing minor at 8:10:30. Minor news, nothing too significant. Typically, we're gone by that time anyways. And so we're going into Thursday here, pending home sales, something to definitely actually be aware of here. Natural gas shares here, not too significant. And then Friday, actually some things to definitely consider here. Being 8:30 a.m., we got GDP, and we got the core price index. So these are going to be some things we definitely need to be aware of and take a look at and have conscious off open. This is definitely not a day, given it is Friday. We're not going to be looking to take anything off open here for sure. Obviously, we're going to be scaled down as is due to the volatility. What it is on Fridays with expirations and exercising at close. So we're going to be looking to play this really safe here today on this day, and just be aware of that. GDP at 8:30, like I said, at 5 a.m. CPI, it's quite early, and then core PCE price index at 8:30 as well. Chicago PMI at 9:45. 10 a.m. we got consumer sentiment and inflation expectations. So there's going to be a lot of news Friday. Friday this week is going to be a really serious day of not playing around. Let's not try to mess around here and be cute. And take things that we know are not going to be of the highest quality or potentially just a scalp near the open. Let's be smart that day. So I'm going into the earnings report for this week. Don't have anything too significant for Monday or Tuesday this week for given what we do on our tech stocks. I saw Lulu at some point. I think it's later in the week. Chewy, not super significant. If anybody likes that, it is pre-market on Wednesday, something that is the only one I've seen so far early in the week. These are going to be our significant earnings reports for this week, NVIDIA and Crowd. We need to make sure that we're being very aware of these off of open. We got this one coming in at close, and CrowdStrike coming in at close as well on Wednesday. So come Thursday, given it being Thursday, day before expiration, we're already going to be scaling down as is. So we need to be scaling down. Notably here, if we're even going to consider this, personally, given the way that NVIDIA has been moving recently, and the follow-throughs not occurring and stops being a very typical occurrence on this company, from my back testing, I personally am going to be skipping taking any NVIDIA trades more than likely this week. Even though I do have it on my watch list here for the week at the 131 level, I personally don't believe I'm going to be taking it, as it is already a side watch for me. It's not even the highest quality setup. So CrowdStrike as well. I don't even have a setup for CrowdStrike personally. So just another justification reason to not be looking at it. HP as well, but typically very widespread, so low contract volume, nothing to really think about there. So it's just further reason to not even think of it. Nothing else really significant for this week. Earnings-wise, those are going to be our two biggest ones, CrowdStrike and NVIDIA. And then we have Dell here after the close on Thursday, nothing Friday, really significant. So let's get into the watch list here. Looking at ES, wanting to see upside here. We do have resistance at 56.65.25 here at the recent high here. Nothing too significant. We could see downside or upside this week, but we do need to see one or the other. Consolidation, we've been getting pretty notable chop here clearly for the last week. Want to see a breakout here to see some decisive direction and allow for some pretty clean movements. So hopefully we are in an upside move here and a general 1 minute trend here, really 1 day, 2 day trend to the upside. So I kind of want to see this break through the 56.70 area and have continuation there. Same exact thing really here with NQ. I want to see a breakthrough out of the 19,900 area right here, and I want to just see some continuation. So I want to see continuation up past probably 20,000, but that is a pretty high move, pretty large move just to see it in 1 week. But we did also just have this pretty large downside move as well, almost 500 points. So that's what I'm looking at. I'm wanting to see upside, but Downside is also welcome, but I really don't. On my main watch list, I'm going to be starting here with Meta. Um, we have the current level here on the upside, 523.20 is going to be my downside. Downside for this. I'm looking at potentially getting an early entry here for my 520 level, 523, maybe even just playing this as a scalp or scaling out correctly on this, depending on the price action we get and the sentiment of the market divergence wise. I'm going to be looking to take this at 523.10 or 523 on the dot on this low here. I'm going to be watching it and loading it up at around the 524.50 area when we hit my alert. I'm welcoming upside and downside this week, like I said. Upside is definitely a higher quality setup given the higher moves we had last week. However, we're looking at probably seeing a bit of a sell-off this week, given some of the larger moves we had earlier. So personally, I welcome either side, but I want to see notable divergence because that's when we get the largest and best paying contract moves. So I want to see some pretty notable divergence on Meta here. Personally, if we're going to see downside, like I said, 523, 520 area, 520 being my actual level, 523 just being a level which I could consider early entry or take it as a scalp in a separate trade, being a low, just depending on how we approach it. And then my upside level on this is going to be, I'm going to be looking at this when we get to 539.77 and we approach that area. I'm not going to be taking this at 540. It's just a little bit too much chop personally. I'm going to be looking at more so the 545 area myself. 540, you're playing with some fire there, but you could definitely take a scalp there. However, it's something to be very cautious of. If it's later in the week, I won't be even thinking about a scalp. I'll just be skipping that personally. But the actual trade that I'm looking at is going to be 545. 544.23 for potential early entry or full entry. It's just really dependent on how we approach it and the divergence, as well as just overall what are the overall market factors when we get there. So 545 on Meta is going to be that. SMCI, I have both upside and downside this week as well. I'm looking at personally coming into this week. I'm looking at upside is more favorable here with the gap fill from 636 to 98 to 658.58. So my upside preference here, personally, I would be looking to take entry likely around 635, given the way we work and move on this given share. My initial scale out's likely going to be when we break 640 here on this. I'm going to be looking to scale out probably either a quarter or half, depending on the break and how strong it is. I'm looking to do my final position close out at 645 unless we just have one of those crazy days where it just decides to keep basically carrying momentum straight through 650 and almost filling the gap. I will not be holding anything past 650 period because of the point. At that point, we'll be overextended if we do hit it like that. Or if anything, that'll be a separate trade later in the week. Downside, personally, I'm looking at 600 here, down to 598.38 here. I have as a low. I'm looking to scale out half here, given the way that SNCI does move either upside or downside, but typically I've noticed it's in downside more. We have much larger wicks on the 1 minute at least. So I'm looking to scale out half here and not play any games with this company, especially if this setup decides to come later in the week and not tomorrow on Monday. I'm definitely going to be playing this as cautious as possible and playing it smart here. My final position closeout with 100% P 595. To me, this is a local low. I want to see the break here. We're playing with a small, I believe this was a 5-minute trend. So I'm not playing any games with this. I'm just looking to get out and take a pretty decent profit there. Given this move, this could pay easily 20-30%. But at the same time, we can have $2 to even $4 wicks bounces on SMCI, and you can be down 20% just as easily. So this is not something to play with, and I'm not looking to do that. So that's my upside and downside for SMCI this week. My next main watch is actually going to be Roku. Funny enough, we were looking at this earlier this week. One of the interns took this, Frankie, Friday. It was very nice. I just hadn't have it loaded up. Personally, I probably would have taken this myself as well. Friday here at the 65 break. Beautiful play here. It ended up being a $3 break, and I believe 40% pay on that contract. Some of the premium flips. They did back flips pretty heavy on that. So Roku is still interested on this as long as the contracts maintain a tight spread and a good volume. This company was a golden stock back in its heyday during the COVID pandemic period. However, nowadays it's very low volume typically and a large spread on the contracts. So I have to see what happened Friday on this in order to actually justify this. Obviously, we do have some notable trends here. We got a little 1 hour trend here. But this is a company, again, It's a smaller stock. I usually refer to this as a shit stock. We definitely don't want to play with this because this can do some wicks as well from what I was back testing earlier. I'm not looking to mess around with this. I personally have my level at 70.56, and through my back testing, this doesn't have anything more than usual dollar move. A dollar moves a lot for this, kind of like Apple or Amazon even. So personally, I have 70.56 as my initial entry, and then I'm looking to scale out at the 71 break and then close out my position at 71.52. Unless we have a strong momentum and divergence from the market, I'm looking to scale out at 72 and be completely out of my position at that point. My next and final main watch is going to be on AMD, both upside and downside as well. On AMD, on the upside, I'm looking at 160 to 162. My entry would be at 160. We don't have any notable trends here. We have quite a lot of room here to work with, no resistance. Our gap is pretty far, so we're not going to be looking at a gap fill this week, more than likely, unless we see some serious strength and upside on the market, as I was noting in the early part of the video. So I'm looking at the 160 break. When I'll probably get in, it just depends, but likely anywhere in the 159 to 160 range, depending on kind of the price action we see and momentum and how that decides that. So with this given setup, I'm not really too picky on divergence really at all because of how AMD operates. It'll just showcase divergence out of nowhere sometimes and just blow up. So upside or downside, I'm really fine with either of those. Not having a whole lot of heavy divergence. I really need to see those though, like I was talking about on Meta, Roku, and SMCI. Very specifically, I need to see a divergence, pretty heavy there at least. Those are one of my requirements to take those trades. Whereas AMD here, I'm good with either. So 160 to 162. At 160, I'm looking to get in, scale out at 161. Personally, because I know how this company likes to do, we typically, if it's close to open, we're going to see a pretty big pop, and then we like to hit high day and then reject and often go to low of day. So this is something to not mess around with as well. You can even just see it right here. This is what it does. So right here, high day, boom, straight to low a day, here a day, high day, low a day. It doesn't do it every time, but here we go, high day, low day. It's a very, very common occurrence with this given underlying. So I'm not messing around with this. If we do that, I'm expecting it to pop and do another lower day move here. So scale out at 161 and then final close position at 162. And on the upside, that was the upside. So AMD on the downside, I'm looking at the 150 level. I'm looking at this low at 151.83. Here to just start watching it. I'm not looking to take entry at this point. What I am looking at entry is going to be the ultimate recent low at 151. I'd be probably taking position at this as long as we see some divergence, nothing crazy though, like I have been looking for in the other companies, in order to justify early entry. I don't need much divergence to justify a standard entry like 150, 30 cent here, but I am looking to take an early entry on this as long as it showcases the right factors here in this instance. 150, I'm going to be scaling out likely at the 149.50 area, and then I'm scaling out again at 148.91 here is going to be my final position closeout. That's a $2 move. It could be $1 to $2 move is what you're going to be expecting on a pretty solid breakout on AMD. So that's all I'm looking for. My personal trading strategy, I don't like to hold as long as some other people. I like to take more smaller scalp kind of oriented trades, 8 to 20% area. I don't typically like to hold too long. If I do, it's going to be some few runners that hold anywhere from 30 to 40%. And it's going to be maybe 10 to 20% of the remaining position on my remaining part of my position, which would only be, like I said, about 10 to 20% of it, 1 to 2 contracts. So I don't like to hold too long. So that's going to be it for the watch list today, guys. I appreciate you watching. Leave a like, comment, and subscribe. Shoot me a text or a DM in the Discord or Instagram on anything, other ideas you might want me to see and post. And thanks a lot. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Let's kill it this week.